So once you've decided on a design, you need to go over your design, at least the largest, most important parts, in an ebony pencil, because the more lead that you have down, the easier your transfer will be. So I'm just going to take a minute to go around and trace everything again, especially the lettering. So you have two options here. You're going to press this onto here, and one option is to cut it out, and that way, especially if you have a really precise design like this, I would definitely cut it out. If you're doing something a little more loose, I don't know, I'm gonna take a risk and try to line it up and keep it still. And I can actually see through my paper a little bit. I'm going to line it up and use a Sharpie to burnish it. I'm keeping one hand down on the paper, and I think moving in the same direction is kind of going to be a better choice than what I was doing at first, moving back and forth. And if you keep one hand down on it at all times, you'll have a better chance of it not smearing. So I can see some of it's transferring on really well, but then some areas are not what I need, so I'm going to keep working on it. Okay, that's good. So I'm going to be honest with you, I did this one earlier and it was such a nightmare. It was all crooked, and so I'm going with the monkey mainly by default. But now that you have it down, you can look over your design and see if there are any things that need to be clarified, like this eye is not quite what I wanted, so you can use Sharpie or you can use an ebony pencil, and I would just trace over some of the lines where if it's not really clear. So I think on this one, for this one color, I'm going to do the monkey and the word Bolivia on this side. When you're ready to carve, you're going to get your linoleum cutting tool and unscrew the bottom. The tools are in the bottom, and you're going to select the size that you want to start with. I'm choosing the small size to start with, and then make sure anytime you're using the tool that you keep all the extra blades inside your tool. It helps keep us organized and safe. And then to insert your tool, you're going to unscrew the top, and you're going to insert it between the two pieces on the inside. And what that looks like is there are these two pieces on the inside. If you open those up once it gets loose, you can insert the blade in between those parts and then tighten it again to hold that securely. So once you've got it good and loose, you can see those two pieces on the inside. You can insert your blade and then go ahead and tighten it. I'm going to be carving away from myself, so I'm turning my block to make sure that my blade can go away from my body. I'm carving outside of the dark line because I want the dark line to be black, or the color in my print, so I'm actually starting on the white line. I'm using the small blade because I want to make sure I get the details really well, but you could just as easily start with the larger blade on the white areas. Now that I've got the basics done on the outline, I'm switching to a larger blade and I'm going to start carving away. And this is all the white space, things that won't print my color on this side of the block. And for this one, I'm carving all around the country, and I'm also going to be carving white space inside the country. I decided I wanted a black outline of the country and just to have the country filled in another color. So in order to do that, I'm having to carve a line in front and behind of the black line. And so that's basically what you're going to do is as you're carving, you're going to go around anything that's in pencil, like with these letters, and you're going to carve outside of it. It may look from the video like I'm actually carving on it, but make sure that you're carving outside of it because you're actually carving away the white space and you're leaving the black. So it is the opposite of drawing in that respect. Now that I'm done carving, at least I think I'm done carving, I'm going to take an ink pad and press it on top of my design. And then I'm going to do a test print in my sketchbook to see if there's anything I want to tweak, if there's anything that I missed. And as I look at it, of course, it's the lettering that needs a little bit of help. I'm just going to slightly tweak that, and then I can check it again. So now that I'm done with the first side, it's time to go back to the drawing board and get ready to carve the second side. And I'm going to take my ebony pencil again and just trace, because some of this graphite has been rubbed off. So I'm going to trace and reinforce the part that is going to show up on the second side. So for this, I'm putting in some of the patterning and going around the country border. And now I'm going to align my paper with my block very carefully. It may be easier for you guys to just cut it out. Once I have that aligned, I'm going to go ahead and use a Sharpie or a pencil to rub on the back of my design until it's transferred. Make sure you keep one hand holding down on the paper. That way, if you need to lift up and check your design, that you'll be able to keep your design in place. Once it looks good, go ahead and use your Sharpie or ebony pencil to trace out the part that you do want to carve out. And make sure that you make it clear for yourself, because it's easy to make a mistake now that you've already carved one side. So I'm going to go ahead and get the borders first so I don't forget, and carve out around what I don't want on that side. Now that I'm done carving both sides of my stamp, I'm going to go ahead and print. And once again, this is a test print to test my colors. I still need to carve a few more of my details in, but I want to show you guys how to do this. So I'm going to lay it where I want on the paper. I need to do my color first on mine, and I'm going to mark the corners. This is my called registering my print. So I'm making a place so that I know and I can line up the second print, and I'm going to use this pencil just because it's all inky. Okay, so I've got a good first go around, and now I'm going to get the second color. And then where I have my pencil marks, I could probably have gone less vigorously on my pencil marks. I'm going to line that up again and print the second side. Okay, I'm just going to go for it with my hand. And remember, if you do keep one hand down on it, you should be able to check and see how it's turning out. Okay, not bad. So it lined up pretty well for what I'm going for, and now that this is done, you can erase your registration marks, and yay, have fun printing.